Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas. We start today in Scotland, where they confirm that play will be suspended up until June the 10th at least. However, suggestions over the last 24 hours are that they could follow in the footsteps of Belgium, and that would be it. They would take the average points per game for the season, which of course, when you take a look at the table, would mean that Celtic would be champions. Hearts, meanwhile, at the other end, relegated. This won't be confirmed until the 23rd of this month. It would just take 9 of the 12 clubs to agree to this. Craig Burley and Gab Marcotti with us. Craig, I want to start with you. Do you like this idea? Does this make sense?
I don't know if it makes sense, Dan. There's a lot of logistical problems for all the countries at the moment trying to deal with the pandemic, but also figure out what they're going to do with the leagues. Making sense, I'm not sure, but making people very angry, I can guarantee you that's going to happen if it is shuttered now. As you know, Scottish people, we don't need much to make ourselves angry. We get angry pretty easily anyway. But can you imagine on Scotland at the moment, because of the way it is with Rangers and Celtic, Celtic gone for, that would be their 9th title, handed to them on the plate, albeit they were going to win the league anyway. But Rangers won't see it that way. They've already said, no, if you're going to hand out a title, it has to be handed out over 38 games. And clearly this is not going to be the case if you do it in this manner. You know, Rangers gone for the Celtic gone for the historic 10 titles, which for those that follow Scottish football will know what that's all about. On the other side of the coin, you know, Anne Budge, who's the owner of Hearts, has said, we'll put up a legal fight if this is the case. 4 points adrift at the bottom, Dan, with 8 games to go. It's not relegation. That's a clear chance to get out of it. However, as you say, there are many logistical problems out there. One of the things I think it's been floated, and it's not just in Scotland but in several countries, is adjusting the league status, adjusting the format of the league, i.e. not relegating teams, bringing teams in, allowing the promoted teams up, increasing the size of the league so everybody kind of gets a piece of the pie, and then figure it out 2 or 3 years down the line how you get it back to normality. That doesn't answer the question about the top of the league, but it certainly would help some of the scenarios at the bottom of some of the top leagues.
It's very softly at the moment, Gab, because I mentioned they don't want to upset UEFA and have any problems in the future regarding Champions League and Europa League places. So they're looking at maybe April 23rd to make this official.
Yeah, well, first of all, they're not going to upset UEFA. You know, everybody's kind of focused on that thing that about, you know, UEFA talking about finishing the season or it might count against you for next year. UEFA are realistic about the broader situation. And I think one of the important things to bear in mind here is that for some clubs that are stuck in mid-table, they may well come out and say, well, hang on a minute. If I don't fulfill all my fixtures, yeah, I may have to give some TV money back, but the TV deal in Scotland, you know, is really a pittance relative to other countries. I have to play behind closed doors, so I'm not going to get match day revenues. I have to keep the club going, the training ground, all the people involved in that. I have a bunch of costs involved here to ultimately determine whether I finish 6th or 7th. Why would I want to do that when I've got major cash flow issues? Remember, it's not just about the top flight. It's further down the pyramid. This applies not just in Scotland, but elsewhere. And they may have a strong financial decision not to want to go ahead with this. I think this is stupid. I don't think it's to be either or. You can come up with a playoff system perhaps for to settle relegation between Hearts and whoever's coming up from the next tier down. You know, there are ways to do this. Or you can also compensate people financially. You can say, we're in this now, you're going to save yourself some money. So Hearts, if you get relegated, we give you a little more money. There are solutions here. This idea that you absolutely have to finish everything, you know, there are bigger issues out there. One of them is obviously the pandemic and what the pandemic allows you to do. And the other one is that, you know, some clubs might be cutting off their nose to spite their face because they may not be able to afford to continue without fans.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.